Mara Lynn sat quietly near the window of the transport shuttle, her hands tightly gripping the soft edge of her seat. The stars outside blinked silently, as if watching her. Around her, other passengers chatted softly or stared at their personal screens, but Mara didn't speak. She rarely did, especially not to strangers. She had grown up in the mining domes of Lunar Station 17, where silence was safety and quiet people were often forgotten by trouble. Her heart beat fast. This trip was not for fun. She had been sent to Valis 9, a large orbital medical station. Near Earth, the reason: pain. Deep pain inside her lower body that had gotten worse over the years. At first, it was just a monthly ache. Then it grew into sharp stabs, burning waves, and moments when she couldn't walk. Lunar doctors were puzzled. Their tools were too old, and their knowledge about Earthborn anatomy too limited. Finally, her mother made the hardest decision, sending her daughter alone to the most advanced hospital in the system. It had taken every credit they had. Mara touched the tiny silver pendant around her neck. Her mother had given it to her just before boarding. "Be brave," she had whispered, "and listen to the doctors. They know what they're doing." Mara wanted to believe that. But what scared her more than the surgery was the man who would do it. The moment she landed at Valis 9, everything changed. Gravity felt different, softer. The air was cleaner than anything she had ever breathed. Bright lights guided visitors along the shining halls. Medical bots rolled silently, offering directions and quick scans. But despite all the beauty and tech, Mara felt small, like a lost child in a world too big for her. She was taken to room 34C, a soft, quiet space with a window view of Earth. A nurse bot helped her settle, checked her vitals, and told her the doctor would visit shortly. Mara nodded, avoiding eye contact. When the door finally opened, she looked up and froze. The man who entered didn't look like a normal doctor. He was young, maybe in his early 30s, tall, slim, with sharp gray eyes and dark, neat hair. His uniform was clean, but not traditional. No white coat, just a sleek blue med suit with his name glowing on the chest. Dr. Aaron Vex. He stood calmly, scanning the room, and then met her eyes. "Mara Lynn?" His voice was low, confident. She nodded slowly, her voice too shy to reply. "I'm Dr. Vex. I'll be your lead surgeon." She looked away, nervous. This was him, the doctor she had heard about. The genius who became the youngest medical engineer in Earth's history. The one who had created an entire line of surgical AI systems before turning 30. And the one who, for some unknown reason, had taken personal cases lately. Cases like hers. He stepped closer but kept his distance. "I know this is frightening," he said, his tone more gentle now. "But I've reviewed your scans, and I believe we can help you not just treat the symptoms, but solve the root cause." Mara looked up slightly, surprised. No one had ever said that before. He continued, tapping a small screen on the wall. Her 3D scans appeared, rotating slowly. Even though she didn't fully understand them, she could see areas glowing in red, pulsing like danger lights. "You have a rare condition," Aaron explained. "Something we've only seen in old Earth records. But yours is different. It's evolving." Mara frowned. Evolving? It was the first word she'd spoken to him. He nodded, noticing the effort she made. "Yes, we're seeing signs that your body is interacting with foreign material, possibly from the lunar environment. Tiny nanofibers, likely from mining dust, are fusing with your tissue. It's causing abnormal growth, pain, damage." Her hands trembled. Am I going to die?" Aaron looked at her seriously. "Not if I can help it." He spent the next 10 minutes explaining the planned procedure in clear, respectful language. Unlike the old lunar doctors, he didn't rush. He didn't treat her like she was dumb. He answered every question, even the quiet ones she only managed to whisper. When he finished, he stood. "You'll be scheduled for surgery in 2 days. My team and I will prepare everything. She hesitated, then asked, Why me? He paused at the door, thinking, because I've seen this before. My sister, she had something similar. But we didn't catch it in time. That sentence stayed with Mara long after he left. That night, as she lay in bed staring at the stars through the window, Mara thought about the journey she had taken. From a dusty dome on the moon to the cleanest, most advanced medical center. In space, from silence to a voice. From pain to possibility. She still didn't fully trust this place. And she wasn't sure if she could trust the young millionaire doctor. But deep inside, for the first time in years, she felt a small spark of something she had forgotten. Hope. And even though her shy nature still wrapped around her like a protective shell, she knew something was about to change, not just her body, but maybe her entire life. The lights in Mara's hospital room gently brightened with the morning cycle. She opened her eyes slowly, feeling the softness of the bed beneath her. The scent of sterile air and light floral mist filled the room. It was quiet, too quiet. For her comfort, she sat up carefully, stretching her arms. A small table near the wall now held warm breakfast, fruit, eggs, toast, and a blue energy drink. Mara stared at it. Back on Lunar Station 17, food was always dry, tasteless, and rationed. Here, it was like art. She took a slow bite, her mind drifting back to the doctor, the strange young man who didn't act like he belonged in this place of cold, machines, and expensive suits. She had barely spoken to him yesterday, but he had looked at her like she mattered. Not like a number, not like a charity case. Like a person, and something about his eyes. Serious, deep, and tired, like someone carrying too many memories. A gentle chime broke the silence. The room door opened smoothly, and once again, Dr. Aaron Veck stepped inside. This time, he carried a small tablet in one hand and a cup of dark coffee in the other. "Good morning, Mara," he said, his voice calm. She nodded softly. "Morning." He tapped on the tablet, then sat in the chair across from her. "Your vitals are stable. No spikes in pain." "That's good. I need you strong for tomorrow." Mara swallowed hard. "Tomorrow?" He gave a faint smile. "Yes, we've moved the procedure forward. I found something new last night." Her heart beat faster. "New?" Aaron turned the tablet toward her. It displayed a diagram of her internal scans. He pointed at a small glowing blue patch near her lower abdomen. This area. It was hidden behind tissue swelling. "But when I scanned deeper, I realized it's not ordinary damage. It's something else." Mara leaned closer, her eyes wide. "What is it?" He hesitated, then answered carefully. "It's advanced material, nanofibers, most likely synthetic. But they're not just sitting there. They've grown roots. They've connected with your nerves." Mara blinked. "So, I'm infected?" Aaron shook his head. "No, that's the strange part. Your body isn't rejecting it. It's adapting, merging." She stared at him in shock. "That's not normal." "Exactly," Aaron replied. "It's not normal. It's extraordinary." He stood and walked slowly to the window. His gaze drifted to the stars beyond. "When I was 12, he said suddenly, my sister Ilara began to feel pain. At first, the doctors thought it was simple inflammation. But it kept getting worse. She stopped walking, then talking. By the time they figured it out, it was too late." Mara sat still, listening carefully. "I promised myself," he continued, "that no one else would suffer like that. I studied medicine. I studied machines. I built systems that could detect hidden conditions, scan deeper than any human eye. But nothing could save her." He turned back to Mara. "Until now. You have the same pattern of illness, but something inside. You is changing it. Changing it." She whispered, "Yes," he nodded. "Whatever those nanofibers are, they're not hurting you the way they should. They're blending, helping, learning your body." Mara looked down at her hands. Why me? I don't know, Aaron admitted. But if we do this right, we can not only save you, we can unlock something new. Something that could help millions. A long silence filled the room. Then Mara asked the question quietly. Why? Are you doing this yourself? I mean, you're rich. You have robots. Assistants. Why take my case? Aaron took a deep breath. Because you remind me of Alara, he said. She was shy, quiet, but strong inside. No one believed her pain until it was too late. I see that same silence in you, and I won't ignore it again. Mara felt her throat tighten. No one had ever said anything like that to her. Not even on the moon, where silence was normal. Here, in this bright room filled with tech, she felt something else, something warm. Like trust. Later that day, a nurse bot brought her a lightweight surgery gown and helped her prepare for the next morning. Her room lights dimmed as the artificial night cycle began. Mara lay in bed, but sleep didn't come easily. Her mind was full of questions. What was inside her? What if the surgery failed? What if she changed into something else? But beneath those fears was something new, a belief that maybe she wasn't alone anymore. At the same time, Aaron sat in the private lab next to the operating chamber. Screens floated in the air around him. Scan data, simulation models, and tissue interaction charts all blinked in light blue. He studied them with sharp focus. He saw the same pattern again, the way the nanofibers curved and wrapped around nerves without breaking them. It was impossible by normal science. The fibers were behaving like adaptive code, like they were learning. He tapped a command, running a fresh simulation. The AI tried to replicate the growth using synthetic tissues. The result, system crashed. Again. He leaned back, rubbing his eyes. What are you, Mara Lynn? He whispered. Was this an accident from lunar mining? Or was it something older, something buried on the moon waiting to bond with a human? He had no answers yet. Only one fact mattered. Mara's life depended on him. And perhaps the future of medicine did too. Back in her room, Mara finally closed her eyes, and in her dreams, she stood not on the moon or in the hospital, but on a bridge of light, connecting stars and wires, machines and memories. And at the end of that bridge stood a figure. She couldn't see his face clearly, but his eyes looked just like Aaron's. The morning of the surgery arrived faster than Mara expected. The soft lights in her room slowly glowed brighter as the hospital system gently woke her. She blinked away sleep, feeling both nervous and strangely calm. Today was the day everything might change. A medical bot entered quietly, holding a folded robe and a mask. Good morning, Mara Lynn, it said in a soft voice. Please prepare for transfer to the surgical chamber. Dr. Aaron Vex is awaiting final scans. She got up slowly, changed into the soft blue robe, and followed the bot into the hallway. The corridor lights were dim, calming. The walls were smooth and silver, humming gently like a heartbeat. It didn't feel like a hospital. It felt like a ship preparing for launch. In the surgical chamber, Aaron stood dressed in a black and silver med suit, surrounded by floating screens and robotic arms. His eyes were sharp and focused. As Mara entered, he turned, nodding at her. With calm confidence, "You're right on time," he said. "How do you feel?" "Scared," she whispered honestly. He nodded. "That's normal. But I'll be with you the whole time." She gave a small nod in return and climbed onto the soft operating table. The ceiling above her showed stars' real-time space view from outside the station. It was beautiful, calming. "Close your eyes," Aaron said gently. "We'll begin." "Soon," she obeyed. A soft hiss, then silence. The world faded into darkness. As Mara slept under the surgical sedative, Aaron and his team worked quietly but carefully. Robotic arms moved with perfect precision, guided by Aaron's hand through a special interface glove. The eye assistants followed every signal from his movements. enhancing accuracy by microseconds. The internal scanners showed what Aaron had seen before, but now it was clearer. Inside Mara's lower abdomen, the strange nanofibers had not only merged with her tissue, they had grown into a pattern. They weren't random. They were forming something structured. A net. A shape. Aaron, one of the assistants, whispered. "This looks intentional." He nodded, already focused. Yes, it's behaving like organic software learning from her biology, upgrading itself. But how? Lunar dust can't do this. "I don't think it's just lunar dust," he said. "I think it's something older. Maybe from an ancient biotech deposit buried beneath the mining zones. Something left behind by someone else. Aliens? Possibly. Or early human tech that evolved on its own." Aaron tapped a command into the system. The robotic lens zoomed in, revealing the fibers pulsing lightly with blue energy. They moved in sync with Mara's breathing, like they were alive. "Begin." "The extraction," he ordered Dot as the surgery continued. Aaron gently disconnected a section of the nanofibers for study. But as soon as he pulled it away from her tissue, the rest reacted violently. A sharp spike in her heart rate appeared on the monitor. Her brainwaves shifted rapidly. "She's destabilizing." The assistant called out, "Hold the sedation." Aaron ordered, "Stabilize her vitals." He quickly released the sample and placed it into the containment chamber. The rest of the fibers calmed immediately. "Confirmed," he whispered. "The network is self-aware. It knows when it's threatened." The assistant stared at the readings. "This isn't just a medical condition. It's an interface." Aaron stepped back, thinking fast. "She's not infected," he said slowly. "She's connected. This material has formed a second system inside her body, one that mirrors her nerves and responds to her emotions, like a second brain or a second self." Hours later, the surgery ended. Mara was stable, resting, in recovery. Aaron stayed in the lab, studying the sample inside the containment tube. It pulsed gently, like it missed its host. He turned to his AI assistant. "Run a deep scan. Analyze molecular structure. Check for memory storage or signal patterns." As the AI began its work, Aaron leaned against the table, exhausted. He had seen a lot in his career: rare diseases, alien viruses, even failed experiments with machine-enhanced biology. But nothing like this. This wasn't science fiction. It was real. And it was inside Mara, back in her recovery room. Mara slowly opened her eyes. The lights were dim. The bed felt warm. Her mind was foggy, but she knew something was different. She sat up slowly. At first, everything seemed normal. But then, the lights above her dimmed slightly, without her touching anything. She looked at the monitor next to her bed. It turned on by itself, showing her heart rate and oxygen levels. She gasped softly. She reached out her hand, but before she touched it, the screen changed again, showing her surgical scan. Her fingers trembled. "What's happening to me?" Later that evening, Aaron entered her room. He looked tired but relieved. "You're awake," he said softly. She nodded. "I feel strange." He sat beside her bed. "Mara, the surgery was a success. We removed damaged tissue. But more importantly, we made a discovery." She looked at him, nervous. "You're not just healing," he said. "You've adapted to the nanofibers inside your body. They've built a second layer over your nervous system. They respond to your thoughts, your feelings." "You mean I can control machines?" "In time, yes. Right now, it's simple interactions. But it could grow. You might become something we've never seen before." Mara's eyes filled with fear. "Am I still human?" Aaron looked her in the eyes. "You're more human than ever. Your body chose to survive, to evolve. You're not broken. You're rare. Maybe even the first of your kind." She was silent for a long time. Then she whispered, "What happens now?" Aaron stood up. "Now, we protect you. Because once others find out what's inside you, they won't see a girl. They'll see power. Mara clenched her hands. For the first time in her life, she wasn't just a quiet girl with a hidden illness. She was something else, something new. Mara Lim sat on the edge of her bed, staring at her hands. Her fingers moved slightly, and the light above her bed flickered on, off, brighter, dimmer. She wasn't even trying anymore. The connection between her thoughts and the machines around her was becoming faster and smoother, like breathing. She wasn't sure whether to feel afraid or amazed. Dr. Aaron Vex entered quietly. His eyes went straight to the ceiling light as it dimmed, and that to Mara. "You're learning quickly." Mara pulled her hands into her lap. "I didn't mean to." "It's okay," he said. Gently. "It means the system inside you is growing stronger. Your mind is adjusting to the interface." Mara looked at him, nervous. "Is it dangerous?" Aaron paused, then shook his head. "Not if we understand it, but we have to study it carefully. Right now your body is holding something never seen before in human biology. You've become the first living bridge between organic life and smart nanotech." "But I didn't ask for this," she whispered. "No one asks to be different," Aaron said. "But sometimes, being different means you can do something no one else can." The next day, a special conference was called inside Valis 9. Only a few trusted medical scientists were invited. Aaron stood before a projection screen, showing high-resolution scans of Mara's nanotech network. "This is not an infection," he explained. "This is intelligent fusion. The fibers didn't attack the host. They evolved with her. They mimic her nerve pathways, strengthen damaged tissues, and even connect to external systems." One of the doctors leaned forward. "You're saying she's a living interface?" "Yes, but it's more than that. She may be the first step in a new kind of evolution." A murmur spread across the room. Most were amazed. A few were alarmed. "What about control?" another doctor asked. "What if this network spreads? What if others want to copy it?" Aaron's eyes narrowed. "That's why we must protect her. If we study her safely, we can learn. But if the wrong people find out, they'll see her as an object, not a person." Meanwhile, Mara sat quietly in the lab's observation room. Through the glass, she could see Aaron presenting her scans. She couldn't hear the words, but she could see the faces. Some looked excited. Some looked afraid. She hugged her arms around herself. "Why me?" she whispered again. A soft voice replied behind her. "Because you're stronger than you know." Mara turned. It was V1LA, a soft-spoken android assistant that worked with Aaron. She had a kind face and human-like eyes. Mara looked down. "I don't feel strong." V1LA sat beside her. "Strength isn't loud. Sometimes strength is silent, like you." Later that night, Aaron returned to Mara's room. He looked tired. His hair was messy, but his eyes were sharp. "I need to ask you something important," he said. She nodded slowly. "There's more inside you than just healing fibers. The system responds to commands. It learns, and I think it's trying to talk to us." Mara's eyes widened. "What do you mean?" He placed a handheld scanner on the table. It showed a small cluster of signals, tiny electric pulses that formed a wave pattern. "It's been sending signals through your nervous system, not in random bursts, in rhythm. Like a message." Mara leaned closer. "Can we understand it?" "Maybe, but only if you allow us to run a deep neural scan. It won't hurt, but it might activate more of the system. And once that happens, we don't know how far it can go." She stayed quiet for a moment. Then slowly she nodded. "Let's do it." Inside the deep scan chamber, Mara lay on a cushioned platform. Wires and sensors were attached to her head, arms, and back. The room was dark, except for the soft glow of data lines on the walls. Aaron stood behind the control screen. "Begin scan." The machine activated. Mara closed her eyes. Her mind suddenly felt Open. She was floating, but not in space. She was inside something. Lights moved around her, like strands of stars. She felt pressure and calm at the same time. Her body stayed still, but her thoughts moved fast. Images appeared in her mind. Circles, patterns, strange shapes. Voices without words. And then, a sound. Gentle, like a song. Not from the machine. From inside her. A voice. Not human. Not machine. Just. There, you are the first, it whispered. Mara's heart raced. Who are you? She thought. We are memory, the voice replied. We are knowledge. We are waiting. For what? She asked. For someone who could hold us. Outside the chamber, Aaron watched in awe as Mara's brain activity spiked, not in stress, but in perfect rhythm with the nanofiber network. The system was lighting up, flowing like a second brain. Unbelievable, he whispered. She's in contact. A sudden alert popped on the screen. External signal blocked. Unauthorized scan attempt detected. Aaron's face changed. Someone tried to hack in. He ended the scan immediately and rushed into the chamber. Mara's eyes opened slowly. She looked dazed but calm. What did you see? He asked gently. I heard a voice, she whispered. It was old. Kind. It said it was waiting for someone like me. Aaron sat beside her, serious. Mara, you've awakened something important. Not just inside your body, but maybe something ancient. Something meant to help us evolve. But now, others are watching. They tried to break into the system during the scan. She looked afraid. What do? We stay ahead of them, he said. We protect you, and we learn everything we can. She nodded slowly. For the first time, she wasn't just part of a science experiment. She was at the heart of something bigger, something powerful, and she wasn't alone. The soft hum of Valis 9's power systems echoed through the walls like a distant heartbeat. It was quiet in Mara Lynn's room, but her mind was not. She sat near the window, looking out at Earth, a blue and green jewel floating far away. Her thoughts moved faster than they ever had before. Something had changed inside her. The scan had opened something. Not just in her body, but in her mind. Since then, her thoughts felt deeper, sharper. She remembered things more clearly. She could feel the machines around her, not just see them. When she walked past lights, they flickered gently, reacting to her presence. Screens responded to her emotions. Doors opened before she touched them, and there was the voice, the soft, peaceful voice she had heard during the scan. It hadn't returned since, but she could still feel its presence, like a memory resting just behind her thoughts. A knock broke the silence. Dr. Aaron Vex entered, carrying a black data pad under one arm and a small silver case in the other. His eyes were focused but tired. You've been quiet, he said, placing the case on a table. I've just been thinking, Mara replied softly. Anything strange? Mara hesitated. Everything. Aaron gave a small smile. That's fair. He opened the silver case. Inside were small circular devices, each no larger than a coin. These are neurosensors. If you wear them, we can map how your thoughts interact with machines. It's completely painless. Mara nodded and let him place them gently near her temples, on her wrists, and behind her neck. As soon as the last sensor clicked into place, the monitor on Aaron's pad lit up with bright blue waves. Her brain activity was smooth and strong. Your neural energy is beyond normal, Aaron said. It's like your mind is evolving faster connections, stronger memory, sharper focus. You've become something new. Am I still me? Mara asked, her voice barely above a whisper. Yes, Aaron said firmly. You are, but you're also more than you were. Mara looked down. I don't know if I'm ready for that. No one ever is, Aaron replied. But what matters is what you choose to do with it. Later that afternoon, Aaron showed her something new. Inside his private lab, a hologram of her internal system floated in the air, her nerves, her muscles, and the glowing nanotech weaving through her like threads of light. "See this?" He pointed. "These fibers aren't just attached to your body. They're part of your mind now. You can think, and they respond." He handed her a thin, floating control panel, just a test device. "Try focusing on this. Think about turning it green." Mara held the panel gently. She closed her eyes, breathed slowly, and thought of green of the forest she had only seen in pictures. The screen turned green. She gasped. "Again." Aaron said. She changed it to blue, then red, then gold. She wasn't pressing anything, just thinking. Aaron watched her with quiet amazement. "You're not just reacting anymore," he said. "You're controlling." As the day passed, Mara practiced more. She could now change digital displays, unlock doors, and even shift the gravity inside the training room just by focusing her mind. But she didn't feel like a superhero. She still felt like herself, a quiet girl from a dusty moon station. Only now she had a secret, but secrets don't stay safe for long. That night, Aaron sat alone in the command room. He looked at the security reports. There had been another intrusion attempt. Someone from outside the station had tried to access Mara's scan files. Someone powerful. He stared at the screen, angry. "She's not a weapon," he said aloud. He tapped a command, activating a lockdown. Mara's data was now protected by his personal encryption system. No one could reach it without his approval. But deep down, he knew it was only a matter of time before someone tried harder. The next morning, Mara felt strange again, but not in a bad way. She could hear things. Not voices exactly, but signals soft. Pulses in the walls, silent messages between machines. When she focused, she could tell what they were doing. She wasn't just connecting to tech anymore. She was understanding it. A tray floated into her room with breakfast. Mara reached out her hand and stopped it mid-air without touching it. The tray hovered gently, then lowered onto the table. She didn't even blink. She was awake now. Fully. Aaron entered just in time to see it. His eyes widened. "You stopped the tray?" She nodded. "I didn't mean to. It just, listen to me." He walked closer, scanning the tray. "You're developing wireless command ability. That's not normal. That's extraordinary." Mara looked at him with calm eyes. "I can feel everything around me, Aaron. Not like noise. More like language." "What does it say?" "It doesn't speak," she said. "It shares, like a gentle wave." Aaron stared at her in silence. Then he said, "We need to move." "You?" Mara's eyes narrowed. "Why?" "Because someone tried to steal your data again. If they know what you can do now, they'll come." "You're not safe here." Mara stood slowly. "Where would we go?" "There's a secure moon base old tech research zone, abandoned years ago. We can hide there. Study the network without prying eyes." She looked down, thinking. Then she met his gaze. "Let's go." Within hours, Aaron arranged everything. His personal shuttle, the Seraphim, was prepared. V1LA, the android assistant, joined them. The launch was quiet, secret. As the shuttle detached from Valis 9, Mara looked back at the station through the small window. She thought of how scared she had been when she first arrived, how weak she had felt. Now she was leaving stronger, sharper, and with something no one could understand. Inside her, something ancient had awakened. Something watching, something waiting. As the Seraphim sped toward the dark side of the moon, Mara closed her eyes, and once again, in the silence of her mind, the voice returned. "You are ready," it said. She didn't reply. She simply opened her eyes, and the lights inside the ship turned golden. The silver shuttle Seraphim moved quietly across the black surface of space, heading toward the far side of the moon. Inside, the air was calm, but the tension between Mara and Aaron was growing. They had left Valis 9 without a sound, but both knew that silence wouldn't last. Mara sat beside the window, watching the stars slide by. Her hands rested on her lap, but her mind was awake, reaching, listening. She could feel the ship's systems like a second skin. Power levels, engine pulses, even navigation data flowed around her like music, and something else. A signal. "They're scanning us," she said suddenly. Erin turned from the control panel. "Who?" "I don't know," she whispered. "But someone's watching. Following." V1LA, the android, stepped forward. Multiple scan waves detected. Source: unknown vessel. Long-range stealth class. Erin's jaw tightened. "They found us faster than I expected." Mara stood up. "They want the network inside me." "Yes," Erin said. "And they don't care what happens to you." Far behind them, hidden in the shadows of space, a sleek black ship moved without sound. Its pilot, a cold-eyed woman in a dark uniform, stared at a glowing map of the moon. "Target is moving toward the abandoned lunar research zone," she said into her communicator. "Permission to engage?" a deep voice replied. "Do not destroy. The girl must be taken alive. She is property now." "Understood," the woman said. The black ship changed direction. The hunt had begun. Back aboard the Seraphim, Erin activated defense mode. "We have to get to the old facility. It's deep under the surface. Once we're there, they won't be able to track us." "But what if they catch us before that?" Mara asked. Erin looked at her seriously. "Then we don't let them." Mara took a deep breath. She was afraid, but she didn't let it show. "I'm ready." Minutes later, alarms echoed across the shuttle. A sharp red light flashed on the control panel. "Enemy ship approaching fast," V1LA said. 2 minutes until intercept. Erin gripped the controls. "Hang on." The shuttle dropped suddenly, flying lower toward the rocky edge of the moon. The surface blurred beneath them, gray dust, deep craters, and broken towers from an old human outpost long abandoned. "Almost there," Erin muttered. Mara closed her eyes. She reached into the ship's systems, not with her hands, but with her mind. She felt the engines burning hot. She felt the air pressure rising. And then she felt the enemy ship, its signals, its scanners, its weapons charging. She focused. A message formed in her thoughts, and she sent it straight into the enemy ship's system. Inside the black vessel, the screens flickered. "What is this?" The pilot shouted. Data scrambled. The controls glitched. The ship spun slightly to the side. "She's inside our systems," a technician cried. The pilot gritted her teeth. "Override it. Cut all outside connection," but it was too late. The girl's signal had already touched everything. The black ship slowed. Back on the Seraphim, Erin saw the screen light up. "They've dropped speed," he said, surprised. Mara opened her eyes, her voice calm. "They'll be out for at least 5 minutes. Their weapons are jammed." He looked at her amazed. "You did that?" "I didn't know I could," she said softly. "You're learning faster than anyone I've ever seen." Finally, they reached the entrance of the lunar research zone, a large metal gate hidden behind layers of dust and rock. Erin sent the old code. The door opened with a heavy groan. The shuttle entered and vanished into the shadows. Inside, the base was dark and cold. Long corridors stretched into silence. Broken lights flickered. Dust floated in the air like tiny stars. Old equipment rested. Against the walls, computers, bots, crates marked with warnings. "This place hasn't been used in years," V1LA said. "But systems still show energy. Backup power is active." "We'll need to fix everything," Erin said. "And hide." The shuttle. They got to work quickly. Erin found the old control room. Mara explored nearby, her mind slowly syncing with the hidden systems around her. She found ancient machines, sleeping in the dark tools designed for early human-alien experiments. And deep below the surface, she felt something else. Something. Old. Something familiar. That night, Aaron sat across from her in the base's small common room. A soft heater glowed beside them, and the old lights flickered overhead. "You stopped a warship with your mind," he said quietly. "That's not normal." Mara hugged her knees. "I didn't try to. I just felt like I had to protect us." "You did. Better than I ever could." She looked at him, her voice soft. "What happens now?" Aaron sighed. "We stay hidden. We study the network. And we find a way to protect you permanently. Because after today, they'll be back, with more ships. More force." Mara nodded slowly. "Then I'll be ready." He looked at her. "You're not the same girl I met on Valis 9. I'm still me," she said. "But I'm not afraid anymore." In the silent hours of the night, Mara walked alone through the empty halls of the base. Machines responded to her without a word. Lights turned on where she stepped. Air shifted when she moved. Deep inside her mind, she felt the voice again. "You survived the first test," it said gently. "Now the real path begins." "What path?" She thought back. "The path to choice," it replied. "You can hide forever, or you can lead." "I'm not a leader," she said. "You are what you choose to be." Mara stood still in the middle of the dark corridor, thinking, for the first time in her life. She didn't feel like just a patient or a girl with a strange illness. She felt like someone important, someone the world could no longer ignore. Far above, the enemy ship recovered. The pilot stared at the screen, now showing a clear picture of Mara's face from a captured scan. "She's too powerful," the technician whispered. The pilot's eyes were cold. "Then we don't try to capture her." She pressed a new command. "Next time, we destroy her." The underground base was quiet. A cold wind passed through the metal vents. Mara sat alone in the control room, her hands resting near an old console, eyes glowing faintly as the system recognized her thoughts. For the past few days, she had trained silently. Her abilities were growing faster than even Aaron expected. She could sense machines from far away. She could communicate with old satellites still drifting in orbit. And she was beginning to understand the deeper parts of the living code inside. Her body, something no one else had ever achieved. But something else had changed. Too, she wasn't just scared anymore. She was angry. Aaron entered the room. His coat was dusty, and he looked tired. Scouts spotted movement near the surface. He said. Mara didn't move. "The hunters?" "Maybe. A large ship. No markings. They're hiding behind the dark side of the moon. They're coming." "For me," he nodded. "We need to move. I found tunnels leading to the deeper caverns. We can stay hidden." Mara stood up slowly. "No," she said. Aaron paused. "No?" "I'm done running," she said clearly. "They want to erase me. They think I'm a tool or a weapon, but I'm neither. I'm human." Aaron stepped closer. "Mara, you've come far. But if we stay, they'll use everything they have." She looked straight at him. "Then I'll use everything I have too." High above, in orbit, the enemy flagship floated like a shadow. The cold-eyed pilot, Commander Rin, stood before a group of elite soldiers. "Our target is located deep inside the abandoned lunar facility. Intelligence confirms she has activated hidden systems and repurposed old defense codes." She turned to the screen, which now showed a glowing image of Mara. She's no longer just a subject. She is now classified as a Class 7 network host. The Council has changed the order. If capture is not possible, eliminate her. The soldiers nodded. Commander Rin gave the final command. "Prepare for descent." Back underground, Mara moved. Through the halls with purpose. Machines followed her, floating and crawling. Old drones, once broken, now moved with life. She had awakened them. V1LA stood beside her. "You are changing, Mara. Your mind is syncing with the planetary grid. That is not normal for humans, Mara gave a small smile. I'm not normal. V1L tilted her head. Then what are you? I'm the next step, she said, and I'm not alone. She turned a switch. Lights flared across the base. Hidden walls slid open. Inside were more machines, battle units, repair bots, scanners, signal jammers. All old tech. But with Mara's touch, they were new again. Erin arrived just in time to see them come alive. You found all of this? I didn't find it, she said. I called it. Hours later, the sky above the moon cracked with fire. Dropships descended. Fast, landing with loud shocks across the rocky surface. Commander Rin stepped out, armored and silent. Around her, soldiers spread out, weapons ready. Drones hovered like insects. She lifted a scanner. Target location, 500 meters below. Begin entry. The attack came fast. Explosives rocked the entrance gate. Metal burst. Old alarms screamed. Smoke filled the air. But inside, Mara was ready. The old base lit up with blue lights as her machines moved into place. Drones flew in formation. Defense turrets, long quiet, began to turn and track movement. And Mara stood in the center, calm, focused, her mind connected to everything. The first wave of enemy soldiers entered and fell immediately. Weapons jammed. Walls shifted. Gravity fields turned off suddenly, sending troops floating helplessly. One by one, the base began to fight back with Mara at its heart. Erin fought too, guiding defense bots, helping patch damaged doors, protecting Mara from anything that got too close. But he knew this wasn't just a battle of guns. This was a battle of minds. Mara was becoming something greater than any doctor could understand. Down below, Commander Rin finally reached the central hall. She saw Mara from across the room. Glowing with soft white light, machines floating near her like guardians. So, Rin said, stepping forward, you think you're in control. Mara opened her eyes. I am in control. You're a threat to every system we've built, Rin said. If you go beyond this station, you'll spread. You'll change everything. Mara stepped forward. Maybe that's what this world needs. Rin raised her weapon. Mara didn't flinch. The weapon jammed. It sparked and fell. Rin looked shocked. You're inside me, she whispered. I gave you a chance to leave, Mara said softly. Now it's my turn to choose. The lights in the base dimmed. A soft humming began. The network inside Mara pulsed and connected with something far beyond the moon. Satellites responded. Old stations across the system blinked online. Data flowed across planets. Hidden AIs woke from long sleep. They had been waiting for a voice strong enough to reach them, and Mara had spoken. Erin watched as blue lights wrapped around her. Her feet lifted slightly from the ground. V1LA stepped beside him. She is not just a human anymore. She's becoming the bridge. The bridge? The link between machine and mind, between human thought and living code. Erin whispered, is she still? Mara? Yes, V1LA said. But now she is more. Commander Rin was taken, her army scattered. The council's signal faded, and Mara stood, not as a shy girl from Valis 9, but as the new voice of a rising force. She turned to Erin. It's over. He looked at her, still amazed. What will you do now? She smiled. I'll help others like me. People with strange gifts. People who were ignored or feared or studied. We'll build something new. And me? He asked. She stepped closer. You believed in me when I didn't believe in myself. Stay, he nodded, always. In the sky above, the stars blinked like tiny signals waiting to be read. And across the system, people started hearing whispers. Of a girl, of a doctor, of a network that changed everything. Of a future no longer controlled by fear, but by hope.